Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, another fire broke out in Russia, and the Russians keep it tight-lipped, zip it, and the Ukrainians are just saying, well, it's another fire, we don't know what happened, but it was an explosion and I don't know. Not much information. The Russians are not saying anything. The Ukrainians do not want to imply anything, even though they imply something and you know exactly what they might imply. It's, to say the least, very suspicious. Very suspicious that in the past, I don't know, a month and a half, there were so many accidents at oil refineries and gas fields and malls in Moscow, and it's kind of very suspicious. I know that now we are hypersensitive to anything that says explosion or fire or something like that. We say, oh, must be the saboteurs, must be the Ukrainians. But what else? Coincidence? I don't really believe in a coincidence that shows such a frequent pattern. Let's put it this way. Let's see what's going on here. This article comes from Ukrainska Pravda. It is from December 18th, 2022. A large-scale fire at an oil and gas field in Russia. The fire occurred at the oil and gas condensate Markovskoye field in Russian Irkutsk Oblast. 5 injuries were reported. It is reported that the fire, with the area of thousands of square meters, was localized quickly. There were no victims. I thought they said there were victims, no? 5 injuries. There were no victims and 5 people were injured. Propaganda media report that was a fire, I'm quoting, there was a fire at the technological installation. End quote. People wrote that they heard an explosion on social media. So far, the cause of the fire has not been reported. Now, to be honest about it, certain fires start as an explosion, as accidents. Like, for instance, I don't know, if you live, in the old houses, like I had when I was a kid, the gas. We have an open flame stove. So you leave the gas, or it used to be like this when I was a boy in Romania. You have gas stoves. So let's say, not let's say, because we didn't have heating most of the time in the winter and so on. So the whatever was given by the great socialist government, communist government, which they turn it off or not because there were scarce resources. You sometimes have certain kind of things, and what you had was gas. So the stove, you used to have the gas from the kitchen turned on overnight. The flame, open flame, and all the windows open. All the doors open, so the heat would somehow come and fill the whole house. So that would be a time. The problem is, these communists, or whatever, for whatever reasons, they would try to save energy. So they would shut off gas overnight. Or it was a sudden, decrease of gas pressure. And one of these two, or some, all of them, all these open fire stove, they have 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, small, bigger, biggest, they would turn off, and then it was just gas over there. And then let's say my father was a smoker, and over there you smoke in the house. Bleh. Anyway, so he would come in the morning, or he would start his cigarette wherever he was coming from, or coming from bedroom, start his cigarette. If he didn't smell the mertapkan, which is the chemical that is added to the natural gas, which has no smell. The smell that you say, oh, smells like gas. That's not a smell. Gas doesn't have smell. This kind of gas doesn't have it. But they add mercaptan, which is a chemical that smells like that, so it alerts you immediately. So if you don't smell that and you do this, and boom, It's an explosion and then a fire because the fire goes to the the stove that has it. So yeah, sometimes it's this kind of explosion. So whatever happened at that oil and gas field could have been an accident, which was pressure formed, and then a little spark created the bomb, right? The explosion, and or maybe it was a sabotage. Possible, both, or many other. How do you call them? Options are on the table. It's possible. Probable? Yeah, probable too. Why? Because they're at war with a lot of entities. I'm talking about Russia. So I don't expect Russia to have all these facilities covered with no. They have one guy over there, one over there, and maybe none over there who take care of this stuff. All right, really. I mean, without even taking those guys out, you can go and do sabotage certain things. I mean, I don't want to be a have a criminal mind here, but for instance, I've been in many places in Romania and United States, and you see hydroelectric dams. There's nobody guarding them. I mean, just so you know, and you can come and leave a truck somewhere, and so it's again with the water supply of a big city. How do you think that is? Probably there are some sensors, something that we detect. It detects. I would think detect a certain kind of inadequacy. Something is not right. I would. They would probably notify or something. But you can do it after they get out of the water supply. That's a very dangerous situation with the water supply of a population. I know people don't drink water, but still a lot of people do. And you can create a big problem. Big problem. And you do it overnight. What do you think? You take care of everybody in one night, and in 8 hours you pump as much you want over there with a few tankers that you're going to bring in. I mean, it could be done. I'm just saying it's criminals can do certain stuff, but the same here in Russia. Do you think that those things could not have been done by 7 guys that knew what they were doing? I guarantee you, without even taking care of the guards. And you can take care of the guards in different ways, very different ways. It's still, I don't know. Could be a drone, low altitude drone. Nobody sees it. Hits the right location that was already identified, recorded, release the drone. It just goes the path that was already prescribed over there and hits the exact thing you want to hit, and that's it. What's so fantastic about it? It's very simple, actually. So and it's so strange that they hit main supply of revenue, energy, and it's winter. Too coincidental. I don't believe in those things, but I have no evidence to support claims. I'm just using knowledge, pattern, logic, and however, I mean, as I said, it's possible everything and probable everything, so I'm not discarding any kind of scenario. Thank you very much for being with me again today. We're going to find about this in about I don't know, 3 days or so. The Russians will say, yeah, it was a drone attack. Jesus Christ. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.